there's all kinds of different like creative processes, and you can read all kinds of books on how you make how you come to a brand, or processes for doing this kind of creative work. I'll tell you about the one we used at Lander. It was really exciting. Knowing that we're in this cultural landscape where machine learning and art are not necessarily too connected, knowing that that's going to be contentious, knowing that we're walking into a minefield with sound engineers who are going to be unhappy about what we're building, and to build credibility with them, having it be really changed. We realized we're in the middle of a bunch of binaries. And so we had a group of our great marketing people together in a room, and we took up a big whiteboard and wrote the word "or" maybe like 20, 30 times on a whiteboard, and said, okay, let's talk about all the binaries we're exploding with this project. Is it science or art? Is it music or technology? Is it, and just think of all the kind of binaries that people would use against us. Then we wrote the same number, once we came up with a list of those ors, of all the things that we were kind of in the crux of. We wrote the same number of ands on the other side of the whiteboard, and wrote the same two words on either side. Did a really interesting process after that. Can we believe the and? Music and technology? Of course you can believe that. Art and science? Of course you can believe that. And what was interesting is you get into some really naughty ones that it was really like difficult, complex ones that it was difficult to believe the and story of. Those were the ones that were super, super, super interesting. Art and automation. Wow. Okay, cool. That's a really, really complicated discourse. So then we would spend a lot of time getting into those and coming up with the way that we would talk about those ands that were complicated. All those talking points that we came to out of that process, we then brought the rest of the team in that weren't drinking the Kool-Aid, that weren't the marketing like geniuses and this creative team thinking about all these smooth ways of talking about stuff. Not to demean them, they're brilliant, but you can get really excited about your ideas and lose track of what's true and not. And so brought in the most critical people, the sound engineers, the computer, our cloud backend guys, had everyone walk through the talking points and tell us whether they believed them or not. Had to go back to the drawing board a few times. And at the end of that process, where we've got the talking points that we really are confident about and that believe, start making those as our core brand message. Went through the same process with the brand, with the visual brand too. As we developed things like the logo, I mean, it's no surprise after hearing that our logo has an and in the middle of it that's got that you can see really clearly. I think the and is what we're all about. But had designed the brand, talked about the kind of images that we wanted to use. And we always continuously bring in other team members in to say, do you guys believe this? Does this ring true to you? How do you feel about this? Does this feel like our brand? Branding is everything. Said by a branding guy.